This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Most people know there were no Russians in our campaign. There never were. We didn't win because of Russia. We won because of you.
Major developments in the Russia investigation. Special counsel Robert Mueller has convened a grand jury targeting everyone at a June 2016 meeting at Trump Tower between top campaign aides and a Russian lawyer. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll discuss the week that was in Washington, but first, our top 7 stories at 7, and we begin in Longboat Key, where police are investigating a double homicide. A masked gunman robbed 2 hotel employees at the Zoda Beach Resort before shooting and killing them both. The killer is still on the loose. Police have released surveillance video of the suspect just moments after the shooting. Police hope someone can help identify him. Longboat Key does have a system tracking every license plate coming onto and off of the island.
This has every indication of an isolated robbery gone bad. I don't have any concern for residents and visitors on the island.
It's very unnerving because you think, who does this? I mean, why?
If you have any information, you are asked to call Manatee County Crime Stoppers at 1-866-634-TIPS. Today's homicide is the first in Longboat Key in 17 years. Jamison Nelson Smith was convicted of killing Longboat Key resident Jamie Brown, a well-known theatrical director who was found beaten and stabbed to death inside his home in June of 2000. A local developer is looking to build a 32-unit condo at Fisherman's Wharf in Venice. The plan is to have 4 5-story buildings. Right now, the developer is working to rezone the property. A local homeowners group told us they hope to work with the developer to ensure the building fits. This week, the plan was approved by the Venice Planning Commission.
They received a recommendation, a positive recommendation, and that recommendation will now move forward to City Council for approval, denial, consideration, decision.
If approved by the Venice City Council, work would begin in 2019. 2 women and a teenager are behind bars charged with stealing a wallet, then going shopping with the victim's credit card. Sheriff's deputies say the 2 women from Orlando and a 16-year-old girl stole the wallet at a Venice Publix. The victim was alerted someone was using her credit card. Deputies found the women's car and the items they bought, as well as the victim's stolen wallet. The identity of the motorcyclist killed in the Venice crash this morning has been released. Police say Troy Lynn Odell was heading north on his bike on Tamiami Trail when the truck pulled out of a parking lot, hitting Odell's motorcycle. Officers arrived and found the truck on fire with Odell pinned underneath. The driver of the truck is cooperating with police. The Venice Myakka River Park is now temporarily closed because of flooding. The Myakka River has risen to the point that all walkways are underwater and no safe access to the floating dock. County staff will monitor the park each day and reopen it when the waters have lowered. The Venice Myakka River Park is located on Laurel Road East in Venice. The Pasco County sinkhole that swallowed up 2 homes last month is getting even bigger. Pasco officials say an 80-foot long by 10-foot wide section collapsed overnight. The sinkhole was previously 235 feet. Landfill has been brought in to stabilize the banks of the sinkhole. Once that's done, workers hope to remove debris. 2 homes were destroyed, but residents of 3 other homes were displaced. And Bob Harrigan is at Music on Main in Lakewood Ranch with a check on the weekend weather. Bob.
We are here in Lakewood Ranch, Music on Main, the first Friday of the month. We've got the Click Band playing, and they're a good band too right now. A lot of people dancing a little bit, moving around. Here's what's happening. Let's take a look at the current conditions as they stand right now. Generally fair skies up and down the coast as some drier air has moved in. It's 89, the dew point 74, and the relative humidity at 61%. Winds are out of the southwest at 9, and the pressure 30.06 inches, and that is holding steady. Temperatures much cooler in in Tallahassee where it's rained. 89 now in Sarasota, 91 in Orlando, and 90 in Key West. Temperatures closer to home, into the upper 80s near the coast. Cortez at 88, and the Gulf water temperature now at 89 degrees. 93 in Wauchula, and we have 90 in Punta Gorda, and 92 in Mayaca City. And here's the radar picture. A few showers are off in the Gulf of Mexico, but mainly to the north of us along an old frontal boundary. You can see some showers there, and some over Pinellas County and Pasco County, but not a lot. If anything were to pop up, it would be very, very small as far as that goes. Now, we are looking at basically the rains. We move on through the night tonight. Chance for a few showers again tomorrow. Well, my wife Susan here, and we got a little friend. Who do you have?
I have Mia.
Mia. How you doing? All right, anyway, we'll talk to her a little bit later. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Bob. And still to come, the grand jury now investigating the Trump campaign and its connections to Russia when we return.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 digital media services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 digital media services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential. There's no cost and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Monday on ABC7 News at 7.
Cuts to public school budgets can impact high school athletics. In some communities, athletic trainers might be on the chopping block. What's the potential impact on student athletes if they take the field without trainers nearby in case they get hurt? What will local school districts plan to do? I'm Alan Cohn. We'll tackle that story and more Monday at the Trapezoid.
Monday on ABC7 News at 7. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle.
If there is anything to the Russia investigation, we are one step closer to finding out. This week, we learned Special Counsel Robert Mueller has convened a grand jury. He is targeting everyone at the June 2016 meeting at Trump Tower between President Trump's son, Donald Jr., top campaign aides, and a Russian lawyer. ABC's White House correspondent Cecilia Vega has more.
President Trump on a swing to West Virginia overnight, turning his mega rally for supporters into a full-throated assault on the Russia allegations.
The Russia story is a total fabrication. It's just an excuse for the greatest loss in the history of American politics. That's all it is.
One hit after the next.
Most people know There were no Russians in our campaign. There never were. We didn't win because of Russia. We won because of you.
And the crowd loved it.
What the prosecutors should be looking at are Hillary Clinton's 33,000 deleted emails.
Now joining the inquiry into possible collusion between the president, his team, and Russia, a grand jury convened by special counsel Robert Mueller. ABC News has learned that grand jury has been secretly working for weeks. Reuters reporting the panel has issued subpoenas in connection with that Trump Tower meeting where Donald Trump Jr. was promised dirt on Hillary Clinton. The president's personal lawyer says there is no indication the president himself is a target.
With respect to the impaneling of the grand jury, we have no reason to believe that the president's under investigation here.
But the news seemed to catch the top White House lawyer dealing with the investigation by surprise. Special counsel to the president, Ty Cobb, said the White House favors anything that accelerates the conclusion of his work fairly. The White House is committed to fully cooperating with Mr. Mueller. With that investigation now entering new terrain, the president remained defiant and his supporters right behind him.
Have you seen any Russians in West Virginia or Ohio or Pennsylvania? Are there any Russians here tonight? Any Russians?
What does the news of the grand jury mean to President Trump's most ardent supporters and critics here on the Suncoast? We'll find out in a moment when we convene the trapezoid.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffy Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to save a life? Find out by donating platelets at Suncoast Blood Bank.
I'm Haley Wilgus, ABC7. Platelets aid in the clotting process and are vital in the treatment of cancer and surgical patients, trauma victims, and critically ill newborns. It's tough to keep enough on the shelves because they only last 5 days. To donate, call this number or visit scbb.org and you can help save a life.
ABC7 congratulates Suncoast Blood Bank on 65 years of serving our community.
I am powerful beyond my wildest imagination.
I will define my future.
I will keep challenging myself to improve. Because I am a future leader of this great nation.
I will make a difference in my community.
I will not settle for simply chasing my dreams, I will achieve them.
Because I was given a chance.
An opportunity.
At Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America.
The ultimate leadership experience.
Join us. We'll build a new future together.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
Welcome back. There have been actually very few legislative victories in the first 6 months of the presidency of Donald Trump, but you can't say it has been boring. We already have a grand jury. News this week, special counsel Robert Mueller convened a federal grand jury this week in Washington and is issuing subpoenas for everyone who was involved in that meeting at Trump Tower last year with a Russian lawyer. Meanwhile, Attorney General's is beginning an investigation aimed at cracking down on all those leaks. Anthony Scaramucci's 11-day career as White House Communication Director is over as General Kelly takes control of the White House staff. And good news, really good news, Great Jobs report 200,000 new jobs in July. That cracks 1 million since Donald Trump took office in January. And joining us to make sense of it all is Zach Anderson, a political reporter at the Herald Tribune, Keith Fitzgerald, a political science professor at New College, and Joe Gruters, a state representative and Sarasota County Republican chairman, and the former chairman of the Trump Florida campaign. So, Joe, what do you make of the news that just came out in the last 24 hours that the investigation for Robert Mueller is now a grand jury investigation?
I'm not overly concerned about it, and I think two things. A, I think Jared Kushner was right when he said that the campaign was in too much chaos to really be colluding, to have any type of collusion with Russia, number one. And number two, I'm glad the process is moving forward, because at the end of the day, I think Trump will be exonerated, everybody, and obviously people will know that that this is a fair investigation. I hope it's thorough. And I think that when he gets cleared, we can get past this and we can move on to really what's important to the American people, and that's continuing to create jobs and making sure that we have the best economy for all American families.
None of us here tonight are lawyers, but Keith, same question to you. Do you think that knowing that we have a grand jury now who are issuing subpoenas takes this to a different level?
I think it definitely does. I think that people will look back on this week and say this is the week when the Trump presidency essentially failed. The fact that they're digging into financial records, not just of him but his family members, now means that even if this doesn't result in an impeachment of the president, he's going to be dealing with it nonstop until the end of his term. It's going to be a quagmire, and it's going to pull him down. You talked about the chaos of the campaign. You're correct. Now there's chaos in the White House, and that's really what scares me more than anything partisan about this, is that if the president has no credibility, it invites problems abroad, people who may want to test our resolve on a variety of different issues, and it makes the government run very poorly, that we don't have appointments for many, many positions.
What makes us weak abroad is when we have these leaks and we leak these interviews and these discussions that the president has with foreign leaders, because that's going to limit our president's ability to talk to foreign leaders, because some of them may be afraid to talk to them because they're afraid it's going to be voiced out over the concerns. That's the real problem. We should focus on these leaks, get control of it, put them in jail, and move on.
I wanted to do the leaks in the next block, Joe, but I will say this. McClatchy reported 7 months into the Trump administration, the world's diplomatic community has gone from throwing its hands in the air to now leaning back in their chairs and laughing, albeit morosely, at Trump's cringeworthy displays of diplomacy during the campaign. Said one Mexican official, he's the opposite of Teddy Roosevelt. He speaks loudly and carries a small stick.
What's going to happen is Donald Trump is going to end up being the greatest president this country's ever seen. I think you could already see it with the economy. You mentioned it yourself, 1 million jobs, unemployment down to 4.3%. People don't, a lot of people understand, especially in the middle class, they can feel it in their pocketbooks. The stock market being up as high as it is, retirement accounts being up. And when you give people the ability to have financial security with better jobs and a better economy, everybody wins. And I think that if given the opportunity, the problem in D.C. is the Democrats are consistently throwing these bombs. Every time Trump gets any type of momentum, it's disruption. We've had the same thing since he's been sworn in. I think it's all like a deep state game where they're trying to disrupt this whole presidency.
Hold on.
That is such a ridiculous
argument. Hold on 1 second. It's not the Democrats that could be in the grand jury here.
Well, we're not talking about. I'm talking about the leaks and the disruption and not allowing him to serve as a president. Because you may not like him, but he is our president, and we should support him and move him on.
The leaks are not coming from Democrats. We just had a presidential administration that went 8 years with almost no major leaks. This presidency is leaking like a sieve, and most of it is coming from within their own ranks.
Right. Let's just get
the holdovers. One of the really
let's just get Zach in here in the
yeah.
first, because I always ask you, at what point does it start to affect support here on the Suncoast, which is Trump country?
Well, the grand jury, it sounds bad, you know, the grand jury is investigating him, but my understanding of a grand jury is this was going to happen no matter what with the special counsel. I mean, this is pro forma. They bring in the grand jury, they use that to gather evidence, they use that to subpoena people. A grand jury does not mean that he's going to be indicted or even charged or anything like that. All it means is that the special counsel is doing his job, but it sounds bad. And I think it could be politically damaging for him because it's just another black cloud sort of hanging over his head with this grand jury.
We will have more on this discussion. We are only scratching the surface. We'll continue right after we check the weather. Stay with us.
calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-652-3012. That's 1-800-652-3012. Call now 1-800-652-3012. For a free brochure, call 1-800-652-3012.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Hurricane season is here, and so is the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. This essential resource arms you with vital information you need to protect your family and property when severe weather threatens the Suncoast, including how to create your readiness plan and survival kit, shelter locations, what to do with pets, and important phone numbers. Visit mysuncoast.com and download the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. Brought to you by Batteries Plus, the Florida Lottery, and Sarasota Glass and Mirror.
Our discussion of the week in Washington continues in a moment, but first our meteorologist Josh Stone is now here in the studio with a look at our weekend weather. Josh.
All right, thanks so much, Alan. Yeah, looking at the radar, there's a lot of activity up here to the north and west. Approaching here the Panhandle. This is due to a boundary that's to our north, but for us right now, the radar is quiet. No issues at all. Maybe a stray shower over here. Well off inland, but that is about it. So right now, pretty clear out there. It's warm though, 88 degrees, dew point at 74, 63% of the humidity, and westerly, southwesterly wind at 9 miles per hour. How hot did it get today? Up to 91, but it sure felt a lot warmer than that, especially inland with those heat index up to around 100 degrees. Average temperature at this time of the year is 90, so right where we should be. Today, no rainfall to speak about. Most of that rain is due to that boundary that's to the northwest. You can see why the temperature up here in Tallahassee is only 75 degrees because of the rain-cooled air for them. For us, not so much. No rain for us. It's currently 88 degrees right now. Upper 80s around the rest of the Sunshine State. For the forecast tomorrow, our temperature is going to climb once again in the upper 80s, lower 90s with a few passing clouds. Well, let's talk about the tropics right now. We have a couple of areas of disturbed weather out here. We're watching these pretty closely, and they actually have a pretty good chance of developing into something a little bit more stronger. So we'll watch this. It does look like they're going to make their way into the Caribbean by next week. Where they go, this first one here looks like it could actually track maybe to Mexico or Texas. But this is the one we're going to have to watch pretty closely as some of the computer forecasting models bring this towards Puerto Rico. And where it goes from there, we're just going to have to wait and see. It will be a developing situation as we get into next week. Futurecast, once again, few passing clouds for our forecast tonight and then tomorrow. But notice the clouds then generally come up from the south and east and then make their way back to the southwest. So we're going to have a little more activity as we get into Sunday and into early next week if the rain chance will be on the increase. For the boaters, well, the winds will be out of the southeast, becoming south at 10 knots, 1 to 2 feet for the seas, and the light chop in the bays and inland waterways for tomorrow. The tides, here you go. You can see them on your screen. The high tide tomorrow will be 11:12 a.m. Tonight's forecast, 78 degrees. Pretty fair for sky conditions, so no showers, but still going to be on the muggy side. It's just going to be a rather warm Friday evening for us. For tomorrow, our high climbs to 92. Remember, average for this time of the year is in the low 90s, so right where we should be. Few passing clouds. It's possible to see some inland showers that develop, but again, it's going to be warm, so if you have any sort of outside activities planned, especially exercising, just slow it down, take it easy out there. So not much doing for the shower activity over the weekend, but as we get into next week with that southwesterly flow, we'll have a little better rain chance. Stay with us. Alan will be right back.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Attention! Royal Seas Cruises has just announced their deal of the day, a $99 Caribbean cruise for 2 people. This amazing cruise deal to the Bahamas is only available to the first 500 callers who register in your area today. So get ready to write down this number and act fast. We know that the best type of traveler is a repeat guest, so we're offering this $99 Caribbean cruise to prove it. That's $99 per couple, including your stateroom, all your delicious meals, full spa, live entertainment, 3 kids clubs, and more. Come see why we were voted one of the top 10 best overall cruises by Cruise Critic. We're so sure you'll enjoy yourself and become a repeat customer that you're getting this deal of the day for the unbelievable low price of just $99 per couple. But you've got to act fast. Pick up the phone and be one of the first 500 callers to take the Caribbean cruise of a lifetime for just $99 per couple. Call right now or log on to royalcruisenow.com.
Call 800-906-0489.
If you want 24/7 access to ABC7's breaking news stories, weather forecasts, traffic alerts, health reports, Suncoast View, and more ABC7 programming, now there's good news. Introducing the free ABC7 channel on Amazon Fire TV, your 24/7 access to ABC7. Just search ABC7 on the streaming device and download the free ABC7 channel app. Or if you don't have an Amazon Fire TV, you can get one at Amazon.com.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny'd been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Watch ABC7 wherever you are. Just search ABC7 on your streaming device to keep up with the Suncoast from the comfort of your couch. Download ABC7 now to watch us on TV anytime you want. ABC7, we're here for you wherever you are.
Welcome back. President Trump is off on a 17-day vacation after a week that we learned that a grand jury is investigating the Russia story, leaked transcripts from phone calls between the president with world leaders, and the U.S. economy has added over 200,000 jobs in July, bringing the total to 1 million jobs added in Trump's first 6 months in office. Joining us is Zach Anderson, a political reporter for the Herald Tribune, Keith Fitzgerald, a political science professor at New College, and Joe Gruters, a state representative and Sarasota County Republican chairman and the former chairman of the Trump campaign. I want to stay on the leaks issue for a while because obviously, you could slice and dice this issue in a couple of different ways in terms of disclosing classified information, which I don't think anybody would be in favor of, but also when it comes to the discussions with world leaders, whether you're a Democrat and Republican, and I heard a lot of conversation about this today, it's hard to find anybody who would say that a president should not be able to have confidential conversations with world leaders that don't get out to the press. Keith?
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, there's no justification for leaking material like this. The fact is that the news about it had already been out, so it's almost gratuitous to leak the...
Except for Trump denied some of the things that were reportedly said, including about his conversations with the Mexican
that's
president.
true. But, if that did come from within the security state, it's a very upsetting thing. I think most of the actual leaking is coming right out of the White House itself because there are warring factions and nobody is completely in charge of the ship. But there's no excuse for any leaks like this. No president anytime should be facing that sort of a thing. It doesn't mean that the content wasn't embarrassing, because it was.
Joe, I'm going to let you jump in here, but we first want to report again that the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, today announced the investigation into these leaks, specifically the leaks of classified information. But it is not true, is it not, that a lot of these leaks have not come from the security state or whatever, but has come from warring factions in the White House?
I don't think that's the case. I think what's going to happen is, I think when Jeff Sessions conducts this investigation, I think they're going to find out exactly who it is. I think it's going to be holdover Obama appointees, holdover Obama employees, people that are trying to undermine Trump's presidency. And the problem with all these leaks is you're not only undermining Trump's presidency, you're undermining our entire democracy in our country, and it needs to stop. These guys need to be punished. It's people should go to jail, and I think we'll get to that conclusion. I hope that it happens sooner than later, but it needs to happen.
Here's the question. Obviously, this was General Kelly's first week on the job as the new chief of staff at the White House. He is trying to bring a more disciplined approach to the West Wing, but according to the New York Times, he has privately acknowledged that he cannot control the president, and that his authority would be undermined if he tried and failed. Instead, he is intent on cosseting Mr. Trump with bureaucratic competence and forcing staff members to keep to their lanes. As part of the problem is that there were too many power centers in the West Wing?
Well, I think it's a good idea. I think that General Kelly is the perfect person to have in there, and to have people stay in their lanes just makes perfect management sense, because you don't want people getting into other areas they shouldn't be focusing on. Everybody has a specific role at the White House. They should be following those rules. And I think General Kelly was the perfect person to put in there, and I think he's going to bring the discipline that's needed. And as a result, I think we'll have a much more efficient and effective White House moving forward.
Well, I think that it's really stands out that you just said you think it's a good and appropriate thing that we have a retired general cosseting the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. That is not the way our system of government is supposed to work.
Well, I'm saying what you said, Alan, is he was brought in to say that for individual staff members to stay in the specific lanes, and that's exactly what they should do. I don't think he's going to be able to control Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump won exactly for the same reason what he's doing now. It's because he does use Twitter. It's because he communicates directly with the American public. It's because people were tired of the same old Washington recycling of politicians, no matter what side you're on. And people wanted a difference. People wanted a change. They wanted to drain that swamp. And it's tough to do it. So Trump is trying.
One of the interesting things about General Kelly, a lot of Republicans are sort of indirectly acknowledging how chaotic the White House has been by saying they're so relieved that General Kelly is in here and that he's going to bring some order. I heard that from both of our local congressmen, Vern Buchanan and Tom Rooney, who represent parts of Sarasota County, that they were very relieved that General Kelly is going to come in and establish some order in the White House. That's sort of indirectly acknowledging that it has been chaotic and that it's a backhanded way of sort of criticizing the White House to some extent and saying you really haven't had your house under control. So it just shows how tumultuous things have been and that people are really hopeful that somebody can get this under control.
And I want to ask you about another subject, but I want to ask you first, Joe, if that's the case, if part of the problem here has been over the last 6 months, it has been so chaotic within the White House, is that not reflective of the president's management itself?
Well, I think Donald Trump obviously he's never held elected office before, and I think that there is somewhat of a learning curve, and I think the different people that were in the White House, I think there were factions, I think they were fighting with each other, and I think that's kind of what Donald Trump's management style probably was out in the private sector, where he liked competition. But I think now, moving forward, he sees that for exactly the same thing, that people need to stay in their lanes, they need to focus on specific jobs, and I think we're going to be much better off. Right. But I think Donald Trump has learned a lot already. I think he's doing a great job. But listen, all you got to do is look at the economic numbers. 1 million new jobs, 4.3% unemployment. People are making money.
Yeah. What we have not seen in the first 6 months is much in terms of legislative victories. The health care issue, I mean, we don't have to talk about that in nauseam again, but you have a Republican Senate, a Republican House, and they have not been able to repeal. Hold on. So, you know, Zach, you have talked to Congressman Buchanan and Congressman Rooney about this. And, you know, I know I talked to Vern myself. He was so confident by this summer you would have tax reform.
Yeah.
He must be frustrated at this point.
Yeah, I think he is. You know, the president seems very defensive about this. I think many conservatives are pretty defensive. You know, they want Trump to be successful, so they point to things like his Supreme Court appointment or that he's rolled back some regulations. But the reality is that we have total Republican control of the government, and they have a very ambitious agenda to repeal and replace Obamacare, to do tax reform, to do these other things. And they failed at the first big thing. It's 6 months in. We're in August. They have a month of recess here. They come back in September. They've got some huge deadlines for fiscal issues like passing a budget and raising the debt ceiling. And there's real questions about whether they can get anything big done by the end of the year. I know Vern Buchanan and Tom Rooney are very concerned. You know, they believe that there were some big promises made. I think, you know, there's been a lot made about pressure from the left, but I think they're getting pressure from their base, from the right, saying, hey, we gave you guys control. What are you doing with it? So,
and here's the question, because if you listen to the president, he will say that he has accomplished more in the first 6 months than any president in history. And then, you know, after we're discussing what was not done, what are the people who are watching this right now, how do they jive the two things together?
I think the American public at the end of the day wants to make sure they can be good providers for their families. They want jobs, they want a strong economy, and that's exactly what Donald Trump has done. He's brought optimism that hasn't been in this country in a long time, no matter who's been president, and what he's doing is he's encouraging businesses to invest in factories here. He's putting people back to work. And at the end of the day,
I would like to ask a caller. You're talking the whole time. I want to ask you a question. Name for me the major economic policy change that has been brought about by this administration. And the answer is none. We're operating off of the Obama economy because this president has been incompetent to get his act together, to even put forward a plan. Certainly no discussion of broader issues like tax reform. What's been revealed this week is this presidential administration is a big hot mess, and the problem starts with the president himself, who is not temperamentally or attitudinally well suited for the job and seems apparently to have a lack of either commitment to American institutions or fundamental understanding of how they operate.
But still, Keith, we do hear today, and the people watching this right now hear 200,000 new jobs in July, over 1 million since January. He is the man in charge right now.
Right, and you know, fair enough. People have a sort of magical thinking attitude about the relationship of the economy and the president, whoever it is. But let's just ask a simple question. What do you call those numbers in the Obama administration? The answer is an average month. I mean, that was the rate of economic growth in both jobs and in GDP growth, pretty much average for the entire Obama administration after about September of 2009.
Unemployment's lower than it's ever been in a long time. 1 million new jobs since he took office. People, what Donald Trump has done is he's brought optimism to the American worker, to American businesses, and that's what's driving our economy, and hopefully it will continue to be so.
The economy's driving exactly as it was before he took over.
Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts, so stay with us.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline if you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death. You must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
Download ABC7's all-new official Suncoast weather app onto all your devices so you can stay informed wherever you go. With our full-featured all-new weather app, you can get weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, traffic maps, and weather video from ABC7, all at your fingertips. And and it's free. ABC7's all-new official Suncoast weather app, sponsored by Mr. Sparky. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download yours today. ABC7, My Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch My Suncoast News wherever you are. On our live stream, on our newly redesigned MySuncoast.com, and a brand new ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, and dining with recipes and all the hottest Suncoast restaurants. Visit MySuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for iOS and Android.
Summer break is just about over. It's time to go back to school. And Suncoast View is helping you get your kids ready.
From school supplies and products to the latest fashion, we're bringing in the experts to help your kids get back in the books with style.
Join us for Back to School Week, all this week at 4 on Suncoast View.
Welcome back. A grand jury, a leak investigation, White House shakeup, a good jobs report. Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. We did not even mention Anthony Scaramucci this week. Joe, what was that all about?
Well, I think it was a difficult transition at the White House for sure, and obviously his short tenure proved that he wasn't the right person for the job. I think that the White House will continue to bring in better talent, and I think he just started and ended on the wrong note. And it's unfortunate because my guess he's probably a very accomplished and good overall communicator, and given a different set of circumstances, he may have done a wonderful job, but I'm glad we could put that behind us and focus on the future.
Keith?
Well, obviously the Mooch episode was a big disaster and everybody knows it, and it goes right to the question of whether the president has appropriate temperament and judgment to do his job, because that was his call from start to finish.
I always wonder how all this is playing out on the Suncoast. And as you look we're not far away from another political season, you see nationally some polls showing the president's approval rate going down to 33% according to the Quinnipiac polls. I know that we don't have a lot of polling here on the Suncoast, but Zach, what is your gut in terms of where things stand here?
Well, obviously he's probably doing a little bit better here because this is more of a Republican-leaning area than, if you looked nationwide. But I think he has some issues. I was talking to Congressman Rooney, and he came out. They're elected officials, Republican elected officials, are reluctant to really criticize the president because they realize that about 75% or so of Republicans are still with him. They still support him. But Congressman Rooney did sort of indirectly criticize him, one by saying that he was glad that Kelly had come in to take over as chief of staff, and he also said that he thought Scaramucci was a disaster. So he obviously was upset about that choice, and it just shows that there are things that Republicans are very upset about what Trump has done, and that they don't feel like he's maximizing his potential here.
But does either Congressman Rooney or Buchanan start to get concerned about their prospects for the midterms, even though the president's support may be less than it was?
That's a good question. I think they'd be a lot more concerned if there were decent candidates running against them. That might be a question for other people, but it'll be interesting to see if Democrats think that Trump is dragging these candidates down and run some good candidates against them.
That sounds like another show, which we will get to some other time. Gentlemen, thank you. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, student loan debt. Many jobs require a college degree, but what's the future for those forced to take out tens of thousands of dollars in student loans to get an education? Helen writes, for what they charge, it would be nice if they actually received an education that would help them find their niche in life. Milan adds, I feel the education in the USA is like a maze where most students get lost with thousands of dollars trying to find the exit and the promise and reward. And Ina closes out by saying, one way to avoid taking out so many loans is to commute or take classes at a community college and transfer credits. It is possible to graduate college and not owe so much money. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, our roundtable discussions are available on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to all our guests for being here tonight. Zach Anderson is the political reporter for the Herald Tribune. Keith Fitzgerald is a political science professor at New College, and Joe Gruters is a state representative and a Sarasota County Republican chairman. When we return, we'll have a final look at your weather, plus we will hear a response from the White House on the leaked transcripts and how long President Trump will be going on vacation. All of that and more in your primetime headlines.
So you've decided to go to college. That's cool. So pop quiz. Which is a better way to earn your degree? Commute to college and fill your gas tank, get stuck in traffic, drive in bad weather, try to find a parking space, walk a half-mile to class, or learn online at Independence University. In the park on a bench, on the beach on a towel, or on your couch with your kid. Your campus is wherever you want it to be. You don't go to college. College goes to you. That's independence. That's Independence University. You schedule classes around your schedule, and all your supplies, including a brand new laptop and tablet, are included with tuition. At Independence U, you'll learn from professional instructors with real work experience. You'll get personal support in school and employment assistance when you graduate. Get your degree, but keep your life. That's independence. That's Independence University. So if you're really smart, you'd call now.
Call 1-800-319-0237.
Independence U, for an independent you.
Call 1-800-319-0237.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get the final check on our forecast from meteorologist Josh Stone. In terms of the weekend, Josh?
Okay, Alan, yeah, we're looking at some very wet weather up to the north and west of us due to a boundary here, but that's for them, not for us. Check out our radar. Everything's very quiet. A few stray showers earlier, but everything quieting down. Nothing to show you here other than a few passing clouds on this Friday evening. Our current temperature outside, 88 degrees, dew point at 74. It is muggy, folks. Man, you walk outside, you can sure feel the heat and the humidity. Humidity right now, 63%. Wind, not much, out of the west-southwest at 9 miles per hour. How about our high today? We topped out at 91, just 1 degree above the average high of 90. So it's where we should be at this time of the year, but the heat index, it figures how, or you factor the temperature and the dew point, you come up with the feel-like temperature, and it was in some locations over 100 degrees. That's what it felt like. But no rain today. Everything was very quiet. The rain right now up to the north, and that's why the temperature up here in Tallahassee is 75 degrees, because of that rain-cooled air and the cloud cover and the rain coming down. Here, no rain, 88 degrees in Sarasota, 89 in Key West, 89 in Miami. Our forecast for tomorrow shows our temperatures climbing into the upper 80s, lower 90s. It's going to be another warm one for us, but no real rain in our forecast, just a few passing clouds, maybe some showers develop in the afternoon. Those will be inland and pretty isolated. Now let's talk about the tropics. We're in hurricane season. We have a couple of disturbances out here. The National Hurricane Center is watching very closely, and it actually looks like these two areas of disturbed weather have a good chance of becoming something stronger. So we're going to have to look at this pretty closely. Currently, this one, disturbance number 2, makes a track maybe towards either Mexico, possibly Texas, but this is the one that we're going to really focus on, because as of next week, it makes more of a southern trek into the Caribbean, and then potentially will bank up to the northwest and could be potentially coming our way. So we'll have to watch that closely, but it's still early, just something to keep an eye on. All right, our futurecast shows a few passing clouds tonight. No real rain to talk about here. For tomorrow, same situation. But then notice the clouds make that shift to the south and southwest. We'll have a little more shower activity in our forecast later on in the weekend and then into next week. Let's show you our beach boating forecast. Southeasterly wind will be about 10 knots. Sea is 1 to 2 feet with a light chop in the bay. 89 degrees at the beach for tomorrow, and partly cloudy skies in the afternoon. Your tides, your high tide will be at 11:12 a.m. tomorrow morning. Low tide at 7:36 in the early evening. 78 for our low for tonight, mostly clear. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow, 92 for the high, and there you go. Weekend looking pretty quiet, but the rain chance does ramp up as we get into early to mid next week. Stay with us, everyone. Al, and we'll be right back.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received J.D. Power Awards for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
Are you Goodwill?
Yes, because when I donate
or shop at Goodwill,
I am creating a job. I am Goodwill, yeah.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Monday at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News.
How often you should change or sanitize that kitchen sponge in HealthSmart.
Monday at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Checking primetime headlines, the fallout after those leaked private conversations between President Donald Trump and 2 key heads of state. The Department of Justice announcing new measures to crack down on leaks. ABC's Ariel Reshef has the latest.
In recent months, the Trump White House plagued by leaks.
We're going to find the leakers. They're going to pay a big price for leaking.
I have this warning for would-be leakers. Don't do it.
Today, the Department of Justice sending a message to would-be leakers.
This nation must end this culture of leaks. We will not allow rogue anonymous sources with security clearances to sell out our country.
National Intelligence Director Dan Coats adding his own tough talk.
We feel the pain of those betrayals intensely. I will do everything in my power as the Director of National Intelligence to hold these individuals accountable.
The rush to plug the holes intensifying after the Washington Post published transcripts of private and contentious conversations between President Trump and foreign leaders. In one phone call, Trump telling the Mexican president, "I have to have Mexico pay for the wall. I have to. I have been talking about it for a 2-year period." The Attorney General with this to say about the media.
One of the things we are doing is reviewing policies affecting media subpoenas. We respect the important role that the press plays and will give them respect, but it is not unlimited.
Leaking the phone calls between our president and other heads of states is nothing short of a national disgrace.
And it's not just the White House condemning these leaks. Even a senior Obama administration official calling the release of those phone calls absurd. Ariel Reshef, ABC News, New York.
The Russian investigation is heating up, but that is not stopping the president from taking a little R&R. Again, President Trump flew to New Jersey this afternoon to start his 17-day vacation. The commander-in-chief will be spending time at his golf club. Trump stated numerous times throughout the 2016 campaign that he would not take a lot of time off. Trump also criticized former President Barack Obama for taking time away from the White House to play golf. In August of 2016, Trump said, quote, "I am going to be working for you. I am not going to have time to go play golf," end quote. Trump has taken 41 days away from the White House in his first 196 days as president, compared to Obama, who took just 21 days off during the same time span. The man best known for hiking up the price of life-saving drugs has been found guilty of federal securities fraud. Martin Shkreli was accused of funneling money from his companies to investors. He has been found guilty of 3 of 8 federal charges. Shkreli never took the stand in his own defense, but wasn't shy after the verdict.
This was a witch hunt of epic proportions, and maybe they found 1 or 2 broomsticks, but at the end of the day, we've been acquitted of the most important charges in this case, and I'm delighted to report that.
Shkreli, who is 34 years old, was once dubbed the most hated man in America after he increased the price of a life-saving cancer and HIV drug by 5,000%. He faces up to 20 years in prison. Now to the nationwide manhunt for a college professor wanted for murder. Investigators believe they are closing in on him and another person in the savage stabbing of a Chicago man. U.S. Marshals are on the hunt for Northwestern professor Wyndham Latham, a microbiologist, along with an Oxford University employee, Andrew Warren. Both are believed to have stabbed 26-year-old Trenton Cornell Durano to death at a Chicago apartment. Police believe Latham had a relationship with the victim. The 2 men were initially detained but released. Their passports have been flagged by the State Department as the search continues. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us and have a great weekend.